From the EPAWA headquarters in South Allentown, Pennsylvania, this is Weather Weeklies, an informative video blog on the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The thoughts and opinions in this video are those of the forecaster alone and may or may not reflect the thoughts of the EPAWA staff as a whole, nor its constituents. Now, without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrich with Weather Weeklies.
Hey, good Sunday morning to you. Another edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, December 17th. And we're going to start off with a long-range table like we always do. Now, this week here we're going to be kind of uneventful and at times mild. Now, I have to before I get too far into this, I have to vent here. For those of you who watch this Weather Weeklies video or watch the daily videos that I do, or look at our long-range stuff that we do every Friday, you knew that this mild period was coming. This has been well advertised for several weeks. Our social media outlets we have of Facebook and Twitter, we're getting a bunch of comments about why is it so mild? Why, I don't understand, why is it so mild? I thought it was supposed to be cold straight through New Year's. Well, no, we had this period in here for a while. You got to take advantage of the free product, folks, and I know you guys do because you're watching the video right now. If you were seeing this on social media, I just look at it and shake my head and dismiss the question because it's something we provide free, and this has been well advertised for a while now. This should not be a surprise to any of you that watch these videos every week religiously. This mild period was a reload, and it was expected for quite some time. But we're going to have this reload period, and then we're going to go right back to below average temperatures and the snow chances. So this is not a surprise. This has not come as a surprise to any of you, and I do think up to about the 23rd you will be above average, at least at times. I think you're going to have it's going to be centered around Monday and Tuesday this week, maybe slightly above Wednesday, Thursday, and then a warm Friday, maybe mild Saturday, and then we get cold on Christmas Eve. That's what we're looking at this upcoming week. After that point, we stay cold at least through the 7th of January. I'm going to say somewhere between the 7th and 10th, we'll have a period where it's going to warm up, and then we're going to have like that typical January thaw. Now, how long that lasts remains to be seen. I think you're going to see a lot of up and down stuff in January. You're going to have some colder periods mixed in there, so it's not going to be a total loss here for January. We still have January snowfall is near average, but we do think that period here, after the 7th to 10th or so, it starts to transition into a milder pattern, and it's going to allow the entire month as a whole to average near to slightly above average. So we have 0 to +1. This month we're below average temperatures this month. Obviously above average snowfall. Now the only area this does not pertain to is the interior. I do think you do make up for that this is the entire month as a whole, December as a whole. I'm getting comments about that too. Oh well, areas in the Susquehanna Valley and out towards central PA have gotten shafted so far. They have got very little snow. While that's true, this month is not over yet. It's only the 17th, and I do see things that are going to help you down the line. So with that being said, we're going to get into our La Nina configuration right now. We check this out every week. The change for the previous week here is pretty nominal. Not really too much difference. We're still in east-based La Nina, which means the coldest anomalies below average are right in this area right here. This is Nina 1 and 2. This is where you're going to find our coldest temperatures. We have not seen yet, at least yet, we're not seeing a propagation fully westward toward the international date line, which would make this a more basin-wide event. When that does happen, or if that does happen, and most are actually all, I think most if not all of our analogs show that propagation westward of these coldest waters. All right, so that will happen in time. It might happen in January. A lot of those did happen in January when our analog years that we used. That does have implications on our patterns here in North America. And, the overall jet pattern, it could become more of a typical La Nina if this gets a little bit further west. But right now, it's still east-based. So we're still seeing those cold air intrusions much further southeast than you would see in a typical La Nina. Yes, we're going to be mild this week, but we were cold the last two, and we're going to be cold the next two. All right, so the overall pattern, yes, it is cold. You have a little hiccup this week. That's it. This was projected. So, just to get rid of that confusion there, it seems that people see, if we say it's going to be colder for the next 4 weeks, if we have a couple days that's warmer, it doesn't make the entire period warm. Anyway, here is the quiet, milder week ahead. This is the look at the ensembles. Now you can see all this cold out here gathering. That's going to be eventually coming down to the southeast. This is looking at Friday. This is Friday this week. We do have a warm shot ahead of this. Also Monday and Tuesday won't be quite as warm. Probably 40s, mid upper 40s to near 50. But once we get to the end of the week and Friday, we're going to have a surge of warmth out ahead of this. This is the southeast ridge. You might have heard about this. This southeast ridge is something that appears frequently in typical La Nina years, and it keeps us from getting too cold. As the cold starts to, you have a battle zone between the two. And in a typical La Nina, that battle zone is right about here. Okay, there's your jet in a typical La Nina. Well, that means you have the southeast ridge pressing against that, and the cold air is situated up here. I do think this is going to be the January pattern where it's going to be typical. January will be like that. We're going to have more shots of mild come in again after the 10th. But this is our look on Friday. All right, again, this is a temporary thing. This is just this week. Then this front comes through. This is the change that arrives late in the week. This is actually Saturday morning. This front's going to come through here on Saturday, cold front. It's going to bring showers on the front. No frozen precipitation. Brings the showers in through along the frontal boundary. And then we have this after that. This is Christmas morning. Now we have, of course, the Saturday is Christmas Eve. And that's the day the front comes through. We have a dry Christmas Eve. It looks like, at least the cold, and it's going to get colder on Christmas Eve. This is what it looks like Christmas morning. Now, this is what we call a gradient pattern. All right, you still have the southeast ridge pressing against this like this. Okay, here's the southeast ridge right here. See that? See that warmth coming in? At the same time, you have cold pressing down this way. All right, so this is called a gradient pattern because the gradient is right in between. Gradient is right in between those. Now, where that gradient sets up determines whether or not you get rain or snow if you have a storm that comes through here. And lo and behold, we have a storm signal in this time frame right around Christmas. And everybody's asking me about the Christmas snow. Is there potential for Christmas snow? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Is there potential that we get nothing at all? Yeah, but probably not as good of a chance. I think there's something there. The problem is, where does it track? How much of this cold air moves southeast and how quickly? Now, it is going to move southeast and is going to take over this entire area. The question is, it's a matter of timing. All right. So when we're dealing with the timing of a storm, okay, here's the Christmas snowstorm in the GFS. Notice the gradient. Here's what happens when the gradient is too far to the northwest. Look what happens. This is rain right here, and this is your heavy snow. Okay, that's what happens when the gradient is too far to the northwest. We don't think the GFS is correct with how far northwest it is. Here's your low pressure driving that, by the way. So it's cutting right over Jersey. If we think this is bringing in the cold too late, and it should be more like, say, down here, well, then your area low pressure is down here off the coast, and this is all snow in here. Okay, so it's only a matter of maybe 100 miles, 100, 200 miles, where this gradient sets up and how quickly this gets in. And so you're talking about a matter of hours, and it's going to be a critical time frame where how far southeast does this get? Now our projection is that it gets a little bit further southeast. This is the 26th to the 30th though. This is a little bit after that. So I do think we have a favorable week coming up, even if Thanksgiving, even if Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, whatever doesn't work out. You still have the opportunity after that point up through at least New Year's, probably longer than that, because this is all going to come in and just get rid of the South Ridge entirely, and we're going to be deep into the cold straight through the end of the year. All right. So when you have these scenarios here, and you're looking at the operational runs, and it's funny because I get these questions every couple hours. Every 6 hours this model runs, and you'll see comments on the Facebook page. Well, stick a fork in Christmas. GFS has it warm and 60 degrees, and then 6 hours later it'll completely flip, and somebody will say, "Oh, look, we got a chance at a big snowstorm on Christmas." And then 6 hours later it goes back the other way. It's funny watching these go back and forth. Forget about the run-to-run stuff. Okay, if you want to look at a signal, here's the ensembles. This is what is the GFS ensembles anyway. I can't show the European model ensembles, which are also pretty mixed here, but these are all for the Christmas, just the Christmas system. These are, I'm putting check marks next to the ones that are thrilled with the Christmas potential, okay? Look at that. Look at all these that are thrilled with that potential. Now, these, don't forget about the amounts. It still has it, okay? So those are the ones, and this one too. So you got all these here that are thrilled with it. At least whether that's in the interior or not is a matter of times before we can figure that out. But there's a bunch of members that are interested in this event here on Christmas. But here's the gradient here. Look at that. Look at South Jersey and Delaware, nothing, and then you get plastered in the interior. But you can see where that gradient line is. So it just depends where that gradient line is going to be to determine whether or not you get that rain or snow for your location. But I would bet that this, if I had a bet right now, this is too far northwest. We think it's going to be more down here, or maybe further than that, which will give us a snow event, as long as that storm signal is still there and it doesn't disappear. Okay, while we think that Madden-Julian Oscillation is headed into Phase 8, and this is the European model projection, I don't use the GFS for the Madden-Julian Oscillation. Why? Very erratic, usually late to catch on to the pattern. All right, the European model has been very consistent across all, not only the operational run, but also its ensembles, and the Euro Weeklies have been hinting at this for a long time, that we go into a Phase 8. Well, a Phase 8 is a cold and stormy period, and this is for all magnitudes. I'm going to use January here because it's close enough to January at that point. We're talking about the week between Christmas and New Year's here, being in a Phase 8, and that's a cold signal, folks. That's a cold signal and a stormy signal on top of it. Okay, here's a difference between Phase 7 and Phase 8. Now, again, we're going to go through Phase 7 first, which is still a little bit milder yet, but when we get to Phase 8, so this is our mild week. This is this week. It's where we are right now. So this is this week. You get that the milder periods this week, and then you get into Phase 8 after that, which is a cold and stormy period, the week between Christmas and New Year's. Right there. There it is. So when we look at Phase 7, it's a little bit milder, so that's not a surprise. Southeast Ridge fighting back. But look at Phase 8. It's cold. Cold. And this is a measure of the convection along the equatorial Pacific, actually from the Indian Ocean eastward. And right now we are in a Phase 6. Why do we know that? This, you can see this area of convection. This is a satellite image right now. This is an area of convection right in that Phase 6 territory. What we needed to do, like the European model suggests, is it comes out into Phase 7 and then Phase 8, propagate eastward. What that does is it affects the jet, sends your heat flux is pulled forward, and you get this big ridge out here into Alaska, negative EPO, and a big trough in the east, something like that. That's the idea. If this is over here in Phase 6, this is the area of best convection and stuff. If it's over here in Phase 6, your trough is like this. So then you get, look what happens. Southeast Ridge is fighting back. That's this week. Your cold is up here in the Midwest. So that's why an eastward propagating MJO, setting the convection sense heat fluxes poleward, pumping up this ridge. It's a matter of positioning. It's the further east it is, of course, it'll help us. So that's why we pay attention to this this very consistently. Now, I know this is a model projection. People will say, well, yeah, it's still model-based. What about observational stuff? Well, we can see things in the Pacific that would support that. Also, the Southern Oscillation Index, which is the difference in pressure between Darwin, Australia, which is right here, and Tahiti, which is right about here, will give you this this index here, and the further negative it is, and look what the last 7 days, I highlighted the last 7 days from the 11th to the 17th, 7 consecutive days of negative values. Why is that important? Well, that gets rid of these little, remember these little rinky-dink systems we've had over the past week or so? Well, they're all northern stream systems, fast-moving northern stream systems, right? So you get little weak systems coming in here, and that's it. Well, what happens in a when the SOI is negative is that it amplifies the pattern, so you get the southern stream evolved more, and you get bigger systems. Okay, bigger systems. And this map here shows what happens when you have a rapidly falling SOI, which we've had this week. This is a rapidly falling SOI. Look what happens. Your precipitation, your probability of exceeding average rainfall or snowfall in this case, average rainfall or snowfall when you have a rapidly falling phase during November, December is somewhere between 60 and 80% chance that you'll have above normal precipitation. Why? Because you have more amplification in that jet, and the southern jet gets more amplified, which gives you bigger storm potential. Southern jet carries all the moisture, folks, not the northern stream. So if you don't want these rinky-dink 1 to 3 inch events, and you want something potential that could be, 4 to 8, 6 to 12, something higher than that, you're going to need the southern jet involved. All right, and that's what happens when you have a negative SOI. So let's get to a summary real quick. We're going to expect it to be milder this week, but the warmth will be transient and variable. Variable because it's only going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, maybe Saturday a little bit before the front comes through. All right, so this is not like a long-lasting heat wave coming in or anything, although I do think Friday's going to be quite warm. But then colder temperatures will arrive next Sunday behind that front that comes through here on Saturday. Winter storm signals exist between the 24th and 31st of December. I'm not going to guarantee the 24th, the Christmas Eve snow. I'm not going to guarantee that because that can still shift around and miss altogether or whatever. It's going to depend on that gradient like we talked about. But that storm signal is going to last perhaps longer than that into the first week of January, and a large part of that is because of this SOI going negative. This is a 10 to 14 day lag time, so guess what? That fits right into our period of storminess. And beyond that, if this can stay negative, we're going to be dealing with this in the first week of January also. But I do think the January thaw period arrives around the 10th or so of January, which how long that remains intact remains to be seen. But I think you're going to have some ups and downs after that thaw period occurs. So you have some milder, then some cooler, back and forth stuff. And I still think you end up near average snowfall for the month of January. February, we'll get to later. That's a little bit too far down the line, but not too promising signals if you're a big snow lover for that time frame. Here's our observed snow depth right now. This snow right here that's over our area is from recent clipper snows. That will be gone easily by the time we get to Friday, Saturday time frame. It's going to be very, very mild toward the end of the week. So any snow that's on the ground is going to be gone probably before that. But if it isn't, it'll be gone by then. You're going to be looking for some fresh snow cover after that point. And if you're going to get it, there is that opportunity around Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day. So just keep watching that. Once we get to the short range, we'll have a little bit of better information on that, and hopefully a better idea of what that's going to do. But the signal is definitely there, not just there, but also straight through at least the end of the new year. We're going to be discussing these in advance, exclusively in the premium form. If you have not signed up for this program, you're really missing out. Very good discussions over the last month or so with these storm threats we had, model analysis that we do in advance of every storm coming in. But if you're not into the technical stuff or the educational part of it and just want the bottom line information, we do have the weather alerts that you can get for the seasonal option, and that will take you through the entire winter and give you specific information for your county, including specific start and end times of what precipitation is expected. If we have any changeovers to another precipitation type, it'll give you the time frame for that also. How much you can expect for your area specifically, not just a broad map or something you have to sit there and find yourself on a map and figure out what we're going to get. But we'll give you all the information through the text alerts as well. But if you really want to be part of these technical analyses and model analysis and interaction with our meteorologists and our teams for both Eastern PA Weather Authority and Weather New Jersey, the premium forum is going to be the way to go. So please check that out. Click on the image below this video. Image below this video will take you right to that, so you can sign up for those services. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martris. That is this edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, December 17th. Join us again next week. I will have a video on Christmas Eve morning. That'll be the next week. I'm not going to skip that, so look for that next week, and hopefully we'll have something very juicy to talk about here leading into that holiday. Take care.